So I think recently there's been kind of this sort of rise in people feeling like they are just not like other people. And I know it can be kind of attributed to loneliness or just kind of like social media, maybe. But I think there's a difference between that and the kind of new wave that we are kind of seeing of that feeling. And what that new feeling is you basically feel like you are more mature or above kind of things that people in your same age group are doing. That could mean partying, could mean being irresponsible, could really be anything. But mostly things that would be seen as, I guess, just something that someone younger or who hadn't experienced as much life would be doing. Um, and I've kind of seen this a lot on my own as well. I have this one class. It's me and like 8 girls, right? Uh, and I don't know, just a lot of times they don't stop talking, and it's like, all right, we need to get to work on, the stuff for the class. Um, and it's not even that it's that, because if it was just kind of normal talking, I wouldn't really care. But it's like very obnoxious, like, oh, this girl's dating this guy. He's so weird. I hate her. All this kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It feels like they don't have the same social awareness as I do. And I know that people kind of all mature in like at different times, and they will probably go through a time where they kind of change that aspect of themselves. At least I hope so. But it's just really discouraging when you see people who are just falling into like just really low immaturity. And I know this kind of happens for me too, especially when I'm around people like that. A lot of times I will kind of fall into what they're doing. So, like, if they're joking about something that, I don't know, really shouldn't be joked about, might fall into it. And it's like, oh, I don't want to be doing that. Like, I'm more mature than that, or I'm above that level of development, basically. And I think that this can probably be said for a pretty decent amount of people. And so that's why I decided to kind of talk about it here. Um, but yeah, I guess just realize that there are other people who kind of think that same way and feel like the people around them aren't really on their level of life development. And it's not just like social awareness. It could be like your drive to work or drive to earn money, provide for a family, that kind of stuff, like adult responsibilities. Uh, I think people are feeling like kind of wherever they are in life that the people around them aren't on that level of what they want, of what they themselves are pushing towards. Specifically, like I said, social awareness, maturity, drive, motivation, discipline, those kinds of things. And I think it is kind of a issue of, those people who you see as sort of not as developed as you, probably in certain situations they might see you the same way. So I think it kind of does go back and forth, but I certainly think that there are some people who are struggling with that feeling of basically being alone in that, and that they're watching the people around them and they're like kind of just, I don't know, put off by the way that they act. Which makes it hard for people to either make friends or find partners, because I know specifically for me, when I see a girl who is talking in that sort of way, like, oh, I hate her, or that you hear about this person and this person, it's just like, I don't know. It's just really off-putting. And I know there's that one quote where, I don't know, it's one quote, I think a president said it, something about small-minded people talk about people, and then they list what the smarter people kind of talk about. I don't remember who said it specifically, but it's kind of that quote put into play, because it's like, I don't know, I don't really like to talk about other people that much. Just like to talk about what I myself am going to strive for and basically push for in my own life. And to see other people aren't really on that, and they're kind of like stuck in this, like I said, kind of immature way of acting. I don't know. It's just pretty discouraging. So I guess the first kind of thing that people who might be struggling with this should do is kind of realize that there probably are some other people around them who are feeling the same way about the people around them. So realize that you're definitely not the only person kind of feeling this way. And then secondly, I think you just kind of have to learn how to just be okay with just being with yourself and your level of maturity. Because if it's yourself, you most likely, that's the standard you have. So spending time with yourself shouldn't be too bad. And if you feel like you are kind of falling into those, that lack of social awareness or other stuff, I think you benefit from checking if the people around you are kind of influencing you in that way, or if you think when you're in a certain situation or a certain place that you kind of fall into that immaturity that later when you look back on it, you don't really like. So I think become aware of that. And if you don't like it, then do something to change it. Get out of those times where you regret like your immaturity or whatever. And so you do that, and you realize you're not alone in that. And then I think you just kind of, like I said, got to learn how to be with yourself until other people are kind of maturing to your same level. So I know for me, especially since I'm not super keen on the idea of college, because I feel like those people who are really focusing on college, or the people who are just going just to get a degree because they don't know what else to do, those are the same people who are not to that kind of like adult level of maturity yet. And that's fine. They'll probably eventually get there, but I would just prefer to surround myself with people who are on track or people who are already there. And I think I'll really find that by just kind of jumping into real life stuff, real responsibilities, and just like a job. Because I think I can relate a lot more with, at least in my cousins, who are much older, just on the level of the way that the conversations go. And I think that's kind of what is lacking in the people I'm surrounded by right now. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. So, I think it is kind of a thing that is going around, like I said. But people should realize that there are definitely other people who think that way about the people around them. Then you kind of be aware of what situations you are falling into the person that you don't like, and you try and avoid those. And then thirdly, just kind of learn to be with yourself until other people can kind of reach that maturity and level of development that you see as wanting to be around. But yeah, so that's kind of my whole thought on people who don't really see others like themselves, who can't really see the connection that can be made, and they kind of just see the difference in maturity or development.